Well, another growing season's been and gone already, I know. But it's not quite over yet. So before we run out of time this year, here are 10 gardening jobs which you can be getting up to at this time of the year in November, ranging from those really important ones to stop major damages, as you'll soon see, to the more minor ones which you can do if you want to sort of ease yourself into the coming months and unwind into winter. My name's Thomas, let's have a look. So, now that we're entering November, a lot of that summer colour which we've had so far is beginning to die back. So whether it's the perennials or if it's your just standard annual climbers, it's now a good time to start to get those cleared. Really, as you can see now, I'm starting to get my sweet peas cleared, and it's pretty much as simple as just cutting them back at the bases and clearing away all of that dead material, which can then be used to be composted, or if you don't have a compost bin yet, you can just bin it normally. And just a quick idea, rather than just leaving these pots or raised containers or raised beds or wherever you're growing these, rather than leaving them bare, why not get some winter plants in, like some winter pansies or any other types of flowers which you'll actually enjoy seeing, rather than just having bare soil which, really no one wants to look at. So for me, this is a must-do job in November, getting ready for winter. Now, if you're not someone who really wants to grow lots of flowers, but prefers to grow those vegetables which you can actually use to, well, eat, a vegetable which I like to get in at this time of year is some onions. Whilst most people think of onions as being one of those crops which you can get put in spring, ready through for summer, to then harvest towards the end of late summer before letting it dry in the sun before storing. Well, what if I told you there are certain varieties which can go in now, which can then help to provide you with an earlier harvest? Now, I'll just add on, if this is something which you want to do, it's better to do it really soon, right now, rather than wait a couple of weeks before the temperature starts to get too cold, because you might not get them to a point where they can germinate. And obviously, if you want to improve the rate of germination, you can get cloches and things covered over the top, which we'll touch on in a minute. But as always with crops like this, it's a good idea just to water your sowing area before you actually get the crops put in, just to try not to disturb any of the seeds or anything. So normally I'll just water the soil and then use a dibber or my finger or whatever you've got available, really, just to make some holes in a nice grid before planting the onion seeds into the holes. And fingers crossed, within a couple of weeks, you'll start to see some green shoots appearing from the tops, at which point, you've successfully germinated them. Now, as we just alluded to before, if you're getting some more wintry crops sown, it can often be a good idea just to put some protection over them, just to try and shelter them from the elements a bit more to help with germination and growth. So if you've got some, whether it be onions in or kales, which you've already had in for a couple of weeks, introducing a net or a cloche or anything over the top just to try and help create a warmer growing environment will lead to like a mini microclimate, and that'll obviously help to keep those winter plants nice and cozy. I will just warn you though, if you're placing covers over the tops at any point during the growing season, it can often be a good idea just to check for anything like caterpillars or other insects which might actually be trapped inside, because obviously if you create this nice environment for them and they can't get out, they're going to stay in there and feed on what's available, which annoyingly for us is our plants. So I always just like to check the undersides of leaves or wherever, just to make sure everything is all good and there's going to be nothing trapped in there other than the plants themselves. If you're not sure what to do at the garden at this, let's be honest, slightly quieter time, although realistically it's gardening, there's never a quiet time, it can be a good idea just to try and get ahead of the curve a bit by starting to wash and sort out some of your pots ready for the next growing season. Now, when I say wash, I don't literally mean wash them using washing up liquid and everything like that, because really, it's just a little bit of a waste of time. All I'm talking about really is getting those little bits of mud off which might be stopping the pots from stacking nicely and things like that, just so they're all good to go, nice and easy to grab and easy to use. But really, most importantly though, rather than spending your time washing them, I tend to prefer to spend the time actually sorting through them and seeing what's viable really for the next growing season, because I don't want to have to get to next spring and think, yes, I've got loads of pots which are in great condition and all good to go, only to look on the shelf and realise that, oh no, they're all broken, and then have to rush out and get a load more, which is not a very nice experience. So sorting through them now helps to make you more prepared for next season, just letting you get on with the fun stuff of sowing the seeds and really getting out in the garden. Do you have any summer crops left? For me, I've got a couple, but not really much, and quite frankly, right now, they're not doing too much, which is as expected. So one job I'm going to start doing is getting those final plants cleared out, which are more ideally suited to the warmer months of the year. So that'll be my cucumbers and my leftover tomatoes, which have still been producing a little bit recently, but a lot less than they were during the peak of their growing. So the way I go about this is just getting them all cleared out, and then I'll just chop them up nicely, nice and fine, so that they can then be added to a compost pile. And obviously, if they're chopped down finely, they'll have more surface area, which will help them be broken down faster, and obviously help get me some compost quicker, because who doesn't love that? Because then that compost can become the fuel for next year's plants. Although I will say, if you are noticing that you are still getting quite a bit of growth in greenhouses, don't feel you need to do this. Let them grow, because you never know, you might get an extra pepper or an extra cucumber, which we all want. Although watch out though for your first frost date, because if you've not had it already, you might find that one morning you'll come downstairs and they'll be gone. Okay, maybe not literally gone, but they might not be in the best condition. So just watch out for that. If this year you've decided to grow some perennials, or have decided to plant up some herbaceous borders, or actually even if you've just been growing them for a long time, you might be noticing now that the foliage is starting to die back. Now, while you can leave this and it will eventually die back, normally for things like my hostas, I like to just remove the foliage, which by this point has gone very yellow, and just add that to the compost bin so that I'm not wasting any material which otherwise might just disappear. Okay, it doesn't just literally vanish, it breaks down into the soil where it is, but you get what I mean. All I do is just use a pair of secateurs and cut them right down to the base, to which the plant will then go dormant, and then some point next spring it'll bounce back with loads of life. Although it is important though to watch out for the flower spikes, which many perennials do put up, because obviously we can collect the seeds from these and then grow even more perennials next year. I reckon it's worth just pointing out quickly, if you've no idea what I'm going on about by the term perennials, all it really means is plants which come back every year, and herbaceous just refers to plants which die back each year and come back again. Simple as that. Recently, as you might have noticed yourself, many plants have been absolutely battered by strong winds from Storm Ashley and all the other storms which we quite frankly seem to be having at the moment. So while we can't literally tell the weather to please not give us any more storms, there are things we can do to try and minimise the force and the impact of them. So one thing which I like to do is to just earth up around plants such as my leeks, which obviously do take quite a bit of battering. So whether it be soil in areas which aren't in use, or just from spent grow bags or used compost, I just use that to put around the plants, and that'll obviously help to stabilise them, because they won't technically then be as tall. Of course, if you've got taller plants, you can use things like bamboo canes or any other type of metal canes which you may have, just to tie them up nicely and support them. Just remember though, if you are using canes to tie things up, it's a good idea just to leave a little gap in between the string and the actual plant which you're tying, just to give it some wiggle room, because obviously if it's really tight, it's basically like strangling the plant, and I don't know about you, but I don't want that. So far we've looked at things usually around what we grow, but what about the things we usually walk on? Grass, because it is something which we tend to walk on a lot, but also something we want to look really nice at all times of the year. It tends to get quite compacted, and of course having compacted things leads to, of course, waterlogging, which we don't want. But we can stop this. Well, I say stop, help reduce the chances of it happening. So to do that, we can aerate the soil. Now, I'm mentioning it at this time of the year for November, specifically because of the storms which we've been having, and also because, you know, there's usually a little bit more rain at this time of the year. To do this, you can either use a soil aerator, or if you don't want to fork out lots of money, you can use a fork. Do you see what I did there? Oh, that was absolutely terrible, I know, I'm sorry. So all you need to do is just fork at irregular or regular intervals if you want, just putting small holes into the soil. This will help to let more water in, which can obviously then lead to healthier roots and healthier plants. This next one involves free resources, which are literally flying right in front of our faces. No, literally. Leaves. At this time of the year, it's like a literal blizzard of leaves. They're all around us, so why not use them? Of course, you can turn this into leaf mould and leaf litter by just collecting them up and breaking them down solely for that. Or what I like to do is just add them into a balanced compost mix, because obviously you've got your nitrogens from all the plants and vegetable stems which we're growing, and the grass of course, but the leaves can act as a good source of carbon just to balance everything out. Really, all I say to this is, why not make the most of a free resource? It's all around us, so let's use it. Finally, let's look at some more plantings, shall we? I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll sit there scratching my head thinking, what can I plant? Well, luckily for us, one thing we can plant right now is some garlics. Some of you might be saying right now, this should have been done earlier in autumn. Well, yes, it is better to plant it earlier in autumn, but for those of us who've missed this opportunity, not me at all, can still plant them now. Yes, the crop might be a little bit smaller, but you know, we still want to grow them, so let's get them in while we can. Really, our sowing window is from October to February next year, so any time within that range is good, so why not get them in November? And if you've got any garlic cloves left from last year, you can break those apart and use those cloves to sow the plants for next year. It's all about self-sufficiency and saving money, eh? We love that. And there we go, 10 gardening jobs which you can be getting up to in November. I really hope this was useful and enjoyable for you, and you're now able to get out into the garden to put some into practice. So why not let me know down in the comments below which ones you'll be trying. As always, if you have enjoyed this, please consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel, and why not share it with a friend, because it's the best way to support what I do. Anyways, thanks for watching, hope you have a great rest of your day, and see you soon.